Did now when you were younger, I know you said your dad, because he was coaching, he wasn't around much, but like, was he able to help you on an individual level? Like when he was home, like maybe he wasn't at the team practice or anything like that,
Yeah.
but was he able to help you at home kind of develop your skills?
Yeah, we did mainly defense. There's a one.
Because your dad can still pick it.
Yeah, he really, and he agrees to, like, he's like, we're all the same. Me and my dad, my brother, I say fantastic, really good on defense. Hitting was just always like, eh. So I worked with him on defense, and then I worked with a different coach for hitting. My
Like
brother.
private instruction?
He was a friend of my dad's.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how it is how it was when you were growing up, but like private lessons weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
So it was literally like for me, I would go outside and just throw a ball against the wall. That's how I worked my hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad, when he could, but he also, and we actually had this conversation recently where, because he coached my brother in college, and it wasn't the greatest experience, and that's from them. Like, we've talked, because I asked them at my
They've ironed it out.
well, yeah, and they and like, because I asked them at my coaches clinics, because a lot of the coaches again are parents coaching their kids. So I asked my dad, I'm like, what regrets do you have? And he did say, like, I didn't treat him like my son. I was afraid people were going to think I had favoritism. But my dad didn't really give a lot of feedback after games. You would think Division I coach, but he always said, I just felt it wasn't my place. That's your coach's job. Now, and unless we went to him and asked, he'd be like, okay, yeah, you could do this, you could do this. But after a terrible game, he'd just drive us home. Wouldn't say a word, which I really do respect. And I tell him now, I'm like, you could have said maybe a little bit.
You could have given me a little.
But I see that what parents do to their kids, and the kids are crying after the game because they don't even care about the game. They're just upset that they upset their parent or disappointed them. And so I'm glad I didn't have parents like that.
Yeah.
They just let me play.
I'm sure you've seen this a lot too. When I was coaching, there would be kids that would just be constantly looking for their parents' approval. Like after every swing, they would look to see whether mom and dad were reacting to what they did or first error. It's like they don't even look at the coach or player. It's like they're looking for where their mom or dad is. And I
had a teammate in college because her dad would stand right by the backstop or behind home, and after every swing.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do you address that? I mean, like, I guess, who would address that with the parents? Because that's a touchy thing.
Yeah.
And then how do you overcome that as a player? If you're a player that feels that you're constantly with the pressure, how do you overcome that?
That's tough, because I know a lot of parents get a lot of crap from online instructors, kind of like talk, parents this. And so it's like, I don't ever want to tell parents how to parent, because every kid's different. It's not your kid. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's tough when you see kids so upset and all they want is their parents' approval, or they strike out. They went 1 for 3, but all 3 at bats were fantastic, and they didn't all drop. But they're upset about it because they know their parents going to be upset. As a coach, like when I coach travel, if I saw an issue like that, I would address it to the parent in a way where it's like, hey, this is what I'm seeing on my end. I'm working with your daughter at practices. We're working on this, but all she cares about is you and your response. And I think that's hurting her, and not in a way that's like, you're a bad parent.
Right.
It's just I just, maybe you don't see it.
Maybe they're not aware of it.
Yeah. Your daughter's, she hates this game right now because she doesn't want to be around you after games. Yeah. Some take it well, others, and some are like, I mean, gosh, I had no idea. I just thought I was trying to push her, which I get. You want to push your kid.
Yeah. Parenting is tough.
And again, parents know their kid the best.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just, parents are so intense nowadays. I'm a parent now, so I'm like, I get it. You want your kid to be great. You don't want them to suffer and be sad. But my gosh, there's a fine line.
Yeah. Has since becoming a mom, has your view changed? Even though your daughter's young, and I know I've experienced this with my kids as well. It's because I just start thinking about the future, and before I had kids, when I was coaching, and I would see parents do certain things, and I'd be like, what are you doing? You know, like, I can't even believe, in my head, my non-parent head, I'm like, I can't even believe they're saying this right now or doing these different things. And now that I have my own kids, it's like I have to check myself, because I'm like, oh, like, I could see how someone would do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I still don't think it's right, but like, I totally understand.
Yeah.
You know, the love you have for your kids, you do just about anything. So like I get it. Has that changed like at all for you, or no?
She's only 10 months, so it's like I will say no, it hasn't, but I don't know when she gets into that age now. And my husband and I talk about this a lot because he's in the baseball world. It's more than just softball. Like we want to raise a really good human.
Yeah.
We want her to be respectful. We want her to give her best effort. And again, as parents, I think we can see if our kid's giving their best effort and maybe they went 0 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's just, maybe your kid isn't Aaron Judge, or, you know, it's like, it is what it is. And I now, if Quinn was being lazy or walking on a field disrespectful, we're going to have a problem. And I know a lot of parents too, because I hear from parents, well, you know, this coach is just they suck or they're whatever. And so it's tough when the coach actually isn't great, but it's like, but you're not the coach, you know? Now, unless they're like really verbally abusing your daughter, then find another team next year. Yeah. You know, I say that now, who knows?
Listen, my kids are young too, so I'm sure I might change 5 times before they get to that age, you know?
Yeah. And I get it. I don't ever like thinking of her being miserable because of a coach or being super upset. No, I don't want to see that. But I also want to teach her to like push through, be tough. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
If you want something, work hard at it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Life skills.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely with that. Do you think you would have enjoyed if your dad coached one of your teams? Do you think you would have gone? So you're obviously, your dad coached your brother, so there didn't necessarily go the best. But how do you think you would have been if your dad coached one of your teams?
So he actually coached basketball.
He did.
I don't know how he had time. Maybe it was off season, but he coached 6th, 7th, and 8th grade basketball. And I always I thought my dad was cool, you know, so I was never like, oh my God, my dad. But he was coaching 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old boys. And then he has a 6th graders, and he learned real quick, you cannot coach boys and girls the same. And he's very like, now he's softened up, but very like stern voice. Like even if he wouldn't yell, but he'd be like, hey, and you know, we'd all start crying. And he's like, I didn't say anything, you know. And I would go home, like get out of the door or out of the car, slam the door, and I'm come crying. I was like, what happened? He's like, I literally don't know. Oh, so he learned, he's like, my approach needs to be a little different. But honestly, I mean, once he took over, we crushed it. Right. So yeah, I've always thought highly of my dad. Like I've always thought he's kind of cool.
If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this content valuable.